Hi, and welcome to Picardcast. As always, I'm Brooke, and I'm here with the co-hostess with the mostest, Rebecca.
Hey, that was a lovely introduction.
Oh, a lovely introduction for a lovely person.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be back talking about Star Trek.
Yes. So, you know, we have a guest today, and it's someone...
We do?
Yes, and it's
no one
someone
tells me anything.
we wouldn't necessarily expected to be our guest, because it's our friend Eric, who always makes fun of Star Trek. But, you know, we do too. But anyway. So, hey Eric, how are you?
Hey, what's up, Trekkers? See, I said Trekkers because I'm being nice.
Ah.
You know, it's all in fun. It's like how I always make Star Wars references during this. It's fine.
I know. I said one negative thing about Star Wars while elevating something Star Trek, and I have been labeled a Trekkie from some people.
Oh.
So, yes. I'm standing by it.
Okay. I like this new Eric.
I don't know. I haven't known myself anymore.
I was going to say I like the old Eric too, but whatever.
Yeah, that guy was a jerk.
So, what we do when we have a new guest, since you've not been on any of our episodes, you get to do a lot of talking now, and I know you're super excited about that. Just kind of give us a little bit about how you got into watching Star Trek, that kind of thing. If you watched a lot of it, or if you just randomly picked an episode because you wanted to talk to us, you know, whatever.
Okay, well, I guess I can say some things because I know my nemesis is not going to hear this and make fun of me. But so I was born in the mid-'70s, kind of at the dead spot of Star Trek, so to say. Mm-hmm. The movie hadn't come out yet, and all that stuff. So I kind of was introduced into Star Trek via the original series in reruns, mm-hmm. and the original Star Trek movie we had rented on VHS, and I watched that. My dad was really big into sci-fi. He kind of ignored, I guess, a lot of the stuff that Star Trek tries to teach you, but he liked the science element. So
he liked the science, but not the morals. Is that what you're saying?
Is hilarious.
So I watched a lot of syndication of Star Trek, the original series, Doctor Who, mm-hmm. which they both run a lot of parallel themes and a lot of mm-hmm. parallel type atmosphere when mm-hmm. it comes to storytelling.
And Doctor Who also had that sort of period of time where there was no Doctor Who, and we call it the wilderness years. So that's kind of where you started in the Star Trek during the wilderness years.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So we watched the original movie, and then, I'm trying to think of how we watched The Wrath of Khan, because I was watched it. I kind of like the hokiness of the original series. I was a huge fan. I don't know if either of you watched the Highlander television series.
Yes.
I remember that show, absolutely.
Right. So how it has some episodes that teach you things, and they're very serious, and then you'll have a completely quirky episode. And so I kind of always liked those kind of shows where it could take you down different paths. You never really knew what you were getting, but it had a lot of fun with the universe it was living in. And the original series kind of really, really did that for me. But can't say I really loved it. I just liked to watch it. Like Doctor Who, I enjoy Doctor Who, but I don't love Doctor Who. And it wasn't probably until, I don't know how I saw The Wrath of Khan. I want to say I saw it just on television. We probably rented it again because I was born in 75 and it didn't come out till the early 80s. So that's not the first Star Trek I ever saw in the theater. So I watched that, and that's when I started to really appreciate Star Trek a lot more because it was dark. And it kind of told a more serious story, and it was fun, and it really played to all the characters' strengths, you know, in the whole, and it's a cast that big, it's hard to really do. Whereas the series could kind of focus on that. So I thought that was really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. Unfortunately, it kind of fell short almost every other movie for me, except for the one, I think it was at part 5 is the murder mystery one, right?
That's 6.
6, okay.
5 is the one Shatner directed that we don't like to talk about.
Wait, there's a murder mystery one? I've only seen like 2 or 3 of these movies.
Star Trek 6, Undiscovered Country. It's a murder mystery. Kim Cattrall is in it.
Oh.
How about that?
Oh, that's right. She's a Klingon.
Kim Cattrall.
Vulcan.
I knew that she was in one.
It's really good. Christopher Plummer is in it.
What?
It's a very good film.
Wow.
Star Trek 6, Undiscovered Country. It's one of the better ones.
Wow.
My opinion.
Awesome. I mean, it's an even number.
Even numbered Trek doesn't suck. That's generally the rule. Although it's the rule. It's kind of.
I think Nichelle Nichols does like a sexual dance in that one too, doesn't she?
That's 5. You're still.
Oh, that's 5. Yeah.
5.
Okay. That one did suck.
That one's not great. I mean, it has its moments. I actually rewatched it recently, but it has its moments, but it's not great in my opinion. But I think 6 is a really good movie. 6 is a great one.
Yeah, the first one I saw was 4 in the theater. That's the Voyage Home, right?
Mm-hmm. Admiral, there'd be whales here. I love. That's a terrible Scotty, but I do enjoy that. I do enjoy Star Trek 4 a whole lot.
Yeah. So that's the first time I actually started to like come back around to Star Trek is in that movie. But when the Next Generation aired, it was a huge event. Like at least at my dad's house. I was like looking forward to it because it was the first time we were going to see some good sci-fi on television again, or something with a production value and stories and a long actual series on one of the main networks. So when that came out, we had like, I think my cousin was over. We all just sat there and watched it. I was like, hey, that's a good introduction to Star Trek again. It looks good. And it kind of introduced the cast. I was like, this is interesting. And at that point, I was like, I really liked the character of Data. Like almost immediately, that became my favorite character. So I watched, not really, almost week to week, the first couple of seasons. And then I kind of tailored off to where I would watch when I could watch, because it was, being a kid, you can't just I couldn't just like make time that repetitively through the years. So I watched on and off through probably only the 6 seasons, because there were 7 seasons, right? Of the original series.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the Next Generation. I didn't keep track on the last one, but I was like all in. I was buying that Starlog magazine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Starlog magazine.
I like.
Nerd.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. But they had a lot more than Star Trek. They had Star Trek, they had Star Wars, they had all sorts of stuff in there. It just focused heavy on Star Trek. So I was like, alright. I read that. I started like kind of watching stuff from some of the actors were in, and I just couldn't get into some of it. But that's kind of the introduction that I had into Star Trek. I would watch it late at night on syndication as well, during the summer when I was at my dad's house because my parents were divorced, and I would just watch whatever was on. So it was always like Star Trek: The Next Generation. There was always Doctor Who and like Green Acres or something like that. So we were watching repetitively through all of that. I didn't like necessarily love Star Trek as much as some of the individual characters in The Next Generation, because some of the stuff it just got to. It didn't go in the direction that I wanted it to go, or thought that it probably should go, and I just kind of lost interest in a lot of the characters. Like, I really thought I did break off a little bit when Tasha Yar died, because I thought that was a potentially really good character that could have done a lot, being as how she was a woman security officer. I was like, she's going to be like Ripley on Star Trek. And I thought she really should have been. So I fell off a little bit from that. I thought Worf wasn't really good for the first couple of seasons. Not until I think he got into touch with his Klingon side at the Klingon home world and things like that. But Data was always one of my favorite characters. Data, and I really liked Riker. So the Mandela effect played a big part in this episode for me. because I overwrote a lot of what I thought happened with other things because of Riker. But that was pretty much it. I did watch the movies all the way through from 6 on in the cinema. So I went to the theater and saw all of them in the theater with the exception of this very last, the last 2 of the new released J.J. Abrams ones. I just don't talk about it.
That's fine.
I got in trouble. The reason I got targeted was a Trekkie was there was a comparison of which character is better from Star Trek versus Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And I have to look at Star Wars as an overall, you have to look at it as an overall saga, an overall character story. Mm-hmm. It's the same as Star Trek. You can't just watch one season because there's a lot of character development in all of them. I said that Data was a better character than Yoda. So I think he is.
Okay.
I think for what you're talking about as far as like character development goes, I would probably agree with that. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing against Yoda. I mean, good Lord. I mean, everybody loves Yoda, but if we're talking character development and as far as like what they did with their stories and their, they were just on very different paths. You know, Data's searching to be more human and Yoda is searching to pass on his knowledge. So, I mean, hard to compare like in that sense, but I think just character development wise, yeah.
Hear me out. Yoda is kind of the opposite because he is trying to be less, I mean, even though he's not human, because Jedis have to control their emotions and not have them, and Data wants them. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yoda's like the opposite of Data, basically. Yeah. Right.
I've watched Clone Wars, and that adds a little bit more to Yoda, but not really that much. Not as much as you get Data playing poker and getting emotions and having a crazy evil brother and all kinds of things.
Yeah. For me, it was like Yoda. He was presented to us as being this great, wise, experienced Jedi. It was in tune with the Force, and then the prequels just kind of made him out to be a chump. Oh. So I was like, how do you turn into he's goofy, he's doing his little flippity-doo, not really out of shape. He was not the same character. Not that he should be the same character, but if you're around for 800 years, 20 years isn't going to change an 800-year lifespan's character development. So it didn't make logical sense to me, which is another thing is I'm a very analytical person. So to see, I've been compared to Data before. So I'm like, yeah, I can totally relate to this character. He was the one that I would relate to. And then Riker was kind of the one that I was like, I need to be a little bit more like Riker, even though I'm stuck being more like Data.
Well, I have to say, Data does painting and stuff, and Eric here does some amazing like cosplays and all kinds of stuff. Like he's a really good creator of things. So yeah.
Yeah.
So the next question I have to ask, it could be 2 parts depending on your answer. Did you watch Picard?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't have CBS All Access, and then I wasn't going to just watch the first episode.
Right.
I was intrigued by it, but I just, until it was readily available to watch the whole time, I didn't want to get hooked into it.
Gotcha. I think they did have it set up to watch all of it later after it was all out for...
They did. I just didn't want to jump on board because I'd want to watch the next season and then I would have to subscribe.
We have no idea when the next season's going to be, so...
Oh, yeah, that's true.
If that'll even happen.
Oh gosh, I hope it does happen.
Right?
That would be good.
I mean, we'll have to change the name of our podcast.
Yeah, we will. If they don't bring it back, we'll have to change the name of our show.
The Star Trek cast.
Something like that. Yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
And all the good names are taken.
They are, because everyone's been making Star Trek podcasts long before we came around.
All right. Eric, can you give us sort of a little background on why you picked this specific episode?
Yeah, this one, I've always been intrigued by the idea of like clones or doppelgangers and things like that. Like the one with Lore, the introduction with Lore and Data, that